Good evening. Let start the daily discussion. The first topic is regarding the NHRC stress on implementation of the IDAT Commission report. The National Human Rights Commission has stressed on the need to implement the IDAT Commission report for welfare of the notified, semi-notified, nomadic, semi-nomadic, and denotified tribes, NT, SNT, and the DNTs. Nomadic and semi-nomadic community are defined as those who move from one place to another rather than living at one place all the time. Denotified tribes are community that were notified as being born criminal during the British regime under a series of law starting with the Criminal Tribes Act 1871. They are branded as criminal tribes. These are communities who are the most vulnerable and deprived. Challenges faced by the that notified and semi-notified and denotified tribes: lack of recognition and documentation. Non-denotified community lacking citizenship documents, which makes their identity invisible and causes hindrances in obtaining government benefits, constitutional and citizenship rights. Limited political representation, inadequate representation for those community, making it challenging for them to voice their concern and advocate for their rights. Social stigma and discrimination. The community, NT, SNT, and the DNTs often face discrimination and social stigma, both due to their historical denotified status, and their distinct way of life. Economic marginalization, lack of access to resources, markets, and employment opportunities result in economic marginalization of those communities. Because of their they are economically marginalized because of their socio-economic condition. Okay, so sorry for the interruption. Educational deprivation, educational opportunity for the tribes are limited, leading to high literacy rate. Iddat Commission in 2014, a National Commission for the Denotified Nomadic and Semi-Nomadic Tribe was constituted under the chairmanship of Bhikkhu Ramji Iddat for a period of 3 years. The commission has shown that this is popularly known as the Iddat Commission. The commission has given the following recommendations. There is a need to identify challenges faced by the that notified tribes, semi-notified tribes and the denotified tribes owing to the stigma imposed by the enactment of the Criminal Tribe Act 1871 and later by the Habitual Offenders Act 1952 and figure out a way to modify discriminatory provisions of the latter. It was suggested the non-inclusion of the DNT, NT and SNT under the SC, ST, OBC and formulation of the specific policies for the former among many others. Setting up a permanent commission for nomadic and semi-nomadic and denotified tribes in India, it stress on taking measures to discern hurdles endured by the community in traveling basic facilities such as education, employment, healthcare and legal documents among others. Fine. So this is about the Iddat Commission on the notified, semi-notified and denotified tribes. Steps taken by the government based on the recommendation of the Iddat Commission. The Government of India constituted the Development and Welfare Board for the DNT, SNT and the NT in 2019. So 2019 the government permitted this. Okay. So for them there is a Nanaji Deshmukh scheme for the construction of hostels for the DNT boys and girls. Dr. Ambedkar pre-matric and post-matric scholarship for the DNT rules applicable in India. A committee has also been set up by the NITI-Aayog to complete the process of identification of the denotified nomadic and semi-nomadic community. Scheme for economic empowerment of the DNT. The scheme was launched in 2022 for the welfare of the denotified nomadic and semi-nomadic communities. Budget. The ministry has been allocated 200 crore for this scheme to be spent over 5 financial years 2021-22 to 2025-26. Components. The 4 components of the scheme of economic empowerment, the DNT, are to provide good quality coaching for the DNT communities candidates to enable them to appear in competitive examinations, to provide health insurance to them, to facilitate livelihood initiative at community level and to provide financial assistance for construction of houses per member of this community. Provide financial assistance for construction of houses for the members of this community. This is the provision made by the government for the NT, DNT and the SNT. Then the National Human Rights Commission. The NHRC, the next topic is about the NHRC. It is a statutory public body constituted in 1993. It is responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights defined by the Act as right relating to life, liberty, equality and dignity of the individual, guaranteed by the Constitution or embodied in the international covenants and enforceable by the court in India. So the colonial mindset about the denotified tribes having criminal tendencies need to change to ensure that human rights are not violated. So this is about the NHRC because this issue was raised by the NHRC. So the first issue is about who are these denotified tribes and what is the provision for them. So the colonial mindset about the denotified tribes because they are criminal tribes, because they are the tribes who are involved in crimes during the British period, so they are criminalized. Need to change to ensure their human rights are not violated. Proper documentation of their identity need to be sped up because they are, most of them are nomadic, fine, so that they get the benefit of welfare schemes and the basic needs are provided to them. The National Human Rights Commission has suggested that there is a need to ensure representation of notified tribes in parliament, government institutions and higher education to mitigate the challenges faced by them. Okay. Then the next topic is about the international relation about the labor law. With assistance from the National Skill Development Corporation, the government of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana are hiring around 10,000 workers to go to Israel mainly for construction work. 10,000 workers. So semi-skilled workers and skilled workers will go to Israel to work in the construction industry from Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. It is so about the NSDC. It is a not-for-profit public limited company that was established in July 2008. The Ministry of Finance established NSDC as a public-private partnership model. The Government of India through the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship hold 49% in the NSDC share capital, while the private sector hold the remaining 51%. Currently, the National Skill Development Council is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Enterprises. So the goal is to improve the skill of people in India. It does this by encouraging private sector initiatives in skill development program and providing funding. To promote skill development by catalyzing the creation of large quality and non-profit vocational institutions, employment in Israel, Indian citizens working in Israel, there are around 18,000 Indian citizens in Israel, primarily caregivers employed by Israeli elders to take care of them. So because Israeli senior citizens number is substantially more, so these Indians are appointed there for as caregivers. Okay, there are about 18,000 Indian citizens in Israel, primarily caregivers employed by Israeli elders to take care of them, diamond traders, IT professionals and students. According to 2017 report prepared by the ILO, international migration has grown significantly in the last 2 decades. Okay, from India to other countries. The number of migrants from Asia to the Arab states has more than tripled from 5.7 million in 1990 to 19 million in 2050. How safe is Israel right now? Recently, the Israel Defense Forces spokesman has told media that there is not a place in Israel that is safe now due to the Hamas. Okay, no place in Israel is safe because after the Hamas attack. So Israeli feel the Iron Dome policy or the Iron Dome initiative to Israel faces setback. Okay, this is the manifestation. That recently Defense Forces spokesman hold that in the media that there is no place in Israel that is safe now due to Hamas. According to some estimate, about 100 people who died in Gaza are migrant workers from Asia and African countries. Stand of India Government on Employment in Israel, the Minister of External Affairs has said that India is satisfied with Israel's labor standards. Labor law in Israel is very strict and robust. It is an OECD country, hence labor law are such that it provides for protection of migrant rights and labor rights. OECD stands for Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, and OECD is a frontal organization and in the OECD countries the labor law are highly protected. News that the labor rules for workers abroad, the Uttar Pradesh and Haryana government have started the process of recruiting 10,000 workers to go to Israel primarily for construction activity. There are 2,000 opening for plastering workers, so construction plastering workers, 2,000 for ceramic tile workers, okay, 3,000 each for iron bending and frame workers with a monthly salary of about 1.37 lakh or 6,100 Israeli shekels. So in Indian rupee it is around 1.37 lakh. The prescribed rules: registration of e-migration portal. Workers going to conflict zone or places without sufficient labor protection are required to register with the Ministry of External Affairs e-migrant portal. The e-migrant project was launched in 2013. The portal is a digital platform that aims to streamline the immigration process for Indian workers. It allows workers to create profiles, register employment contact and obtain immigration clearances. Immigration check required schemes or ECR scheme. ECR scheme is a passport category for Indian nationals who want to work abroad. ECR passports are issued to people who have not passed the 10th grade or higher education pass certificate. So this is the immigration check required. The work in the ECR country, ECR passport holders must obtain an immigration clearance from the protector of the immigrants. The protector of immigrants are responsible for granting immigration clearance to intending immigrants. POE perform functions assigned to them under the Immigration Act 1983. Currently, passport issued under the ECR, okay, immigration check required schemes, cover workers traveling to 18 countries from India. So workers traveling to 18 countries from India are required to fulfill the ECR criteria. Okay. So currently passport issued under the ECR scheme cover workers traveling to 18 countries. Israel is not on its list and hence the e-migrate system will not be used for those going to Israel despite continuing violence due to Israel's bombing of Gaza. Collection of service charges from the workers. The rule says that no recruiting agent shall collect from the worker service charges more than maximum 30,000 rupees. So nothing, no agent will charge more than 30,000 rupees for the person who will migrate to Israel. These service charges shall include cost of domestic travel or lodging and boarding for conducting of the interview by the recruiting agents. Okay. International practices. The international practice for the protection of the migrant workers are governed by two conventions of the International Labour Organization. The Migration for Employment Convention, revised in 1949, and the Migrant Workers Supplementary Provisions Convention 1975. While India has not ratified both the conventions, Israel has ratified the 1949 convention in 1953. So coming to the way forward, ILO's World Employment and Social Outlook Trend 2024 report. As for this report, global unemployment rate is set to increase in 2024 while growing social inequality remains a concern in the world. Okay, that means globally the unemployment rate is going to increase. Okay. Okay. It asked the country to design sensible migration policy and skilling initiative to support and develop local labor markets with growing populations. To make this happen, they need to better predict the types of job needed in different countries and improve education and training in places where there are more people looking for jobs. In 2019 report of the Parliament Standing Committee on External Affairs, the report has asked the centre to draft a migration policy. The panel said it is concerned to note that the existing institutional arrangement for the protection, safety and welfare of Indian immigrants are based on inadequate data infrastructure. Fine. Then the next topic is on the non-alignment movement. Recently, the 19th non-alignment summit was held in Kampala. Kampala is in Uganda, an African country, on 18th and 19th and 20th January. So the 19th NAM summit was held under the Uganda's leadership in Kampala. Uganda has taken over as the chair of the Azerbaijan because the earlier summit was in Azerbaijan. Theme: deepening cooperation for the shared global affluence is the theme of the summit. Key discussion at the summit: Israel-Hamas war, India's Vishwamitra initiative, a call for multipolar world. About the non-alignment movement, NAM is an alliance of the developing nations that refuse to identify with any major superpowers. It was established in 1961 at the height of the Cold War, whereas it started with the Bandung Conference held in Indonesia in 1955. Current member: 120 countries are the members, 53 from Africa, 39 from Asia, 26 from Latin America and the Caribbean, and 2 from the Europe. It also includes non-UN member state of the Palestine, 17 other observer countries and 10 observer organizations are also part of NAM. And NAM was created in the height of the Cold War to maintain independent foreign policy by the country who don't want to follow or to be okay. India is one of the founding members. Nehru played a very towering role during the formation of the NAM, along with the Egyptian and the Indonesian leader. Okay, so and the Ghana leader also. After the United Nations, NAM is the second largest grouping of the nations because UN has 193 members and NAM has 120 members plus some observers and others. NAM does not have a permanent secretariat or a formal founding charter, act or treaty. The summit usually takes place every 3 years, so it is called the NAM summit. Okay, and it is called the non-alignment movement to give it a living entity status and a growing entity status. Then Global Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality. India successfully established a global alliance for the global good, gender equality and equity to promote women's empowerment and gender equality. About the Global Alliance, it is a new alliance for global good, gender equity and equality established by India on the sideline of the 54th Annual World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. The alliance will bring together worldwide best practices, knowledge sharing and investment opportunity in women's education, health and enterprise. This initiative marks a significant stride towards achieving multiple sustainable development goals, including SDG 3, good health and well-being, SDG 4, quality education, SDG 5, gender equality and empowerment. that SDG goal number 17, global partnership for development and more. It has garnered support from industry leaders such as the MasterCard, Uber, Tata, TVS, Buyers, Godrej, and Serum Institute of India, and Lusane, and over 10,000 partners from industry through the Confederation of Indian Industry. This is the association of the industrial tycoons of India. One is CII, one is the FICCI. Supported by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation of USA, the alliance will be housed and anchored by the CII Center for Women Leadership. The World Economic Forum has come on board as a network partner and Invest India as an institutional partner. The key facts about the World Economic Forum. So it is an international organization headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, that brings together individuals and political and business leaders each year to discuss significant issues that impact the global economy. These include but are not limited to political, economic, social and environmental concern. The World Economic Forum is best known for its annual World Economic Forum meeting at Davos, the Swiss ski resorts. The event regularly draws business and political leaders from around the world for a series of discussions about the global issues. The World Economic Forum has no independent decision-making power but seeks to influence people to make decisions that benefit the global community. World Economic Forum meetings introduce new issues, trends, and organizations to members and the public for discussion and are commonly believed to influence corporate and public sector decision making. The organization is founded through the membership, which includes many prominent business and political figures. Then the lamprey fish. A recent study has uncovered two potential new species of lamprey fish in California water in USA. Lamprey are boneless, jawless fish with eel-like bodies that date back over 350 million years. They belong to the relic primitive group of jawless fish called the aganthans. They live in a coastal and freshwater and are found in temperate regions around the world except Africa. They range from about 15 to 100 centimeters. Unlike bony fish like trout, cod, herring, limpesi lack scales, fins, and the gill cover. They breathe through the distinctive row of 7 pairs of teeny gills opening located behind their mouth and eyes. Like shark, their skeletons are made of cartilage. The lamprey jawless mouth is a circular, fleshy sucker filled with hundreds of small teeth and a rasping trunk. They are migratory fish moving between fresh and salt water to complete their life cycle. They spend most of their lives at sea and only move to freshwater to spawn and for their juvenile life stage. They attach themselves to large animals like fish and whales while their sucker mouth. They feed as parasites, rasping into host prey with their sharp teeth and sucking out the bloods like the leech in India. Okay. Then the Nagara style of temple architecture. The Rama temple at Ajodhya was inaugurated on 22nd January. The complex is in the Nagara style of temple architecture. So this is very important. This may come as a preliminary question. So the Rama temple is a Nagara types of temple architecture designed by the 18-year-old Chandrakant Sampura and his 51-year son Ashish. About the Nagara style, Nagara architecture is a classical architecture of the temple design in North India, contrasted with Dravidian architecture in South India. Nagara temple have a Shikhara, military passage around it, and one or more mandapas. Shikhara is a symbolic representation of the cosmic order and the divine presence. There are 5 modes of Shikhara design: the Vallabhi, the Hamsana, the Latina, the Sekhari, and the Bhumija. The Vallabhi and the Hamsana are early Nagara modes derived from the barrel-roofed wooden structures. Latina is a single, slightly curved tower with 4 equal sides, dominant for 3 centuries. The Sekhari and the Bhumija are composite Latinas with attached sub-spires or miniature spires, creating a complex and ornate appearance. These models are scholastic classifications, not rigid category. There are much variation and innovation within and across the modes, but this temple is popularly called as a Nagara style architecture. The Ram temple inaugurated was built in the Nagara style. Then the next topic is about the Aravalli range. The Supreme Court recently opined that if the state of Rajasthan believed that the mining activity in the Aravalli range pose a threat to the environment, it can also prevent mining activity in the Aravalli range if the state feel it. About the Aravalli range, it is a mountain range located in northwest India. It is one of the oldest fold mountain in the world. It runs approximately 670 kilometers in a southwest direction. starting near Delhi, passing through southern Haryana and Rajasthan, and ending in Gujarat. The range contains a series of ridge and peaks which have width between 6 miles to 60 miles and elevation that vary between 1000 to 3000 feet. The highest point of the Aravalli range is Guru Shikhara, which stands at an elevation of 5650 feet on Mount Arbuda. It is a 15 km from Mount Abu, which is a popular hill station and in the Aravalli range. So it is also the headquarters of the this religious faith. Okay, that this is okay, the Brahma Kumaris. The three major rivers of these tributary flow from the Aravalli, namely the Banas and the Sahibi rivers, which are tributary of the Jamuna, as well as the Luni river, which flow into the Ran of Kutch. The Aravalli acts at the edge which separates the Thar desert from the plains and plateaus of eastern Rajasthan. It is part of the Aravalli-Dilli orogenic belt, which is a large and complex geological structure formed due to the collision of tectonic plates during the Proterozoic era. It is part of the Indian shield that was formed when a series of cratonic collision. In ancient times, Aravalli were extremely high, but since have worn down almost completely by the millions of years of weathering. The range is rich in mineral resources like copper, zinc, lead, and marble. It is divided into two sections: the Sambari Shirohi ranges, taller and including the Guru Shikhara, and the Sambara Khetri range, consisting of the three ridges that are discontinuous. There are several national park and wildlife sanctuaries that fall within the belt of Aravalli Hill. The Sariska National Park, the Kumbhalgarh Sanctuary, the Mount Abu Sanctuary are among them. Then coming to the question, discuss the various factors that have contributed to increasing interstate water dispute. Suggest some potential measures to resolve underlying conflict and ensure equitable and sustainable water use for all stakeholders. Interstate river water dispute refer to dispute between two or more states regarding use, distribution, and control of rivers flowing through them. In recent years, increasing water scarcity, a rapid rise in urban and rural demand for fresh water, and contentious political dynamics have further exacerbated the problem. Article 262 of the Constitution provides for adjudication of interstate river water dispute. Parliament has passed two laws, the River Board Act and the Interstate River Water Dispute Act 1956 for this. Factor contributing to increase interstate water dispute: conflicting jurisdiction. The Indian Constitution grants water management rights to individual states, but interstate rivers fall under the centre's purview. This ambiguity creates uncertainty and opportunity for dispute to rise. Mismanaged demand, inefficient practice like water-intensive agriculture in arid regions, neglect of traditional water harvesting methods, and subsidized power for flood irrigation contribute to water scarcity and strained supplies. Seasonal scarcity. India's rainfall is heavily dependent on monsoon. Changing climate patterns, including irregular rainfall and prolonged drought, complicates the water management. The recurring water crisis in regions like Marathwada in Maharashtra are prime example of the climate-induced challenges because due to climate change, these regions became water scarcity. Ineffective resolution mechanism. Article 262 limits the judiciary role in water dispute, and dedicated tribunals have historically proven slow and ineffective, hindering timely and sustainable. Because of Kaberi dispute, Kaberi River Tribunal, we have the recently Mahanadi Tribunal, but the time taken by these tribunals to give the judgment for the sharing of water is really prolonged. Political exploitations. Politicians often exploit river disputes for their own gains, using them as rallying points to secure votes and stoking regional rivalries, as seen in the Kaberi dispute, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Increased population and urbanization. Rapid population growth and urbanization placed increased stress on water resources. In cities like Chennai, mismanagement, pollution, and over extraction of groundwater have led to severe water scarcity issues. Measures to address interstate river water dispute. Streamlining dispute resolution. The Lok Sabha in 2017 passed an interstate river water dispute bill. It included a single permanent river water dispute tribunal and a mediation committee. The implementation mechanism is still to be worked out, which should be done in priority. It will help in faster ruling and comprehensive data management. This will address outdated limitations of the 1957-56 Act. Shared governance. Consider shifting water to be concurrent list, a recommendation by the Mihir Shah report. allowing for a central water authority to manage river basin collaboratively with the states. The demand side management, there is a need for promoting water saving irrigation practices like the drip irrigation. Also, basin specific crop choices require less water, which should also be promoted. Supply side augmentation, water availability can be increased through mandatory rainwater harvesting, building check dams to boost groundwater, and creating additional reservoirs for efficient monsoon water storage. Urban planning integration, there is a need to integrate urban and water planning to address urbanization's impact on water resources. For example, increased focus on sewage treatment, mandatory rainwater harvesting in building, etc. should be promoted. Okay. Leverage legal framework. Parliament should actively utilize its power under entry 56 of the Union list to establish river boards as outlined in the National Water Policy. The Supreme Court original jurisdiction for interstate water disputes should be maintained as demonstrated in the Kaveri Tribunal ruling. Borrowed international models, adoption of France water parliament system can be considered. This model involves non-governmental and environmental organization in river management decision because they are practically involved, so their role, they played a major role in these activities. So depoliticize and collaborate. There is a need to shift away from politicizing water dispute and emotional regional arguments. Various federal platforms like the Interstate Council and Zonal Council should be utilized effectively to facilitate dialogue and resolve conflicts. Conclusion, India, home to 18% of the world's population but blessed with only 4% of the renewable fresh water, stands precariously on the brink of water conflict because India house to 18% world population but only has 4% of its freshwater reserve, renewable freshwater reserve. The glaring disparity between population size and water availability coupled with uneven distribution would ignite a tinderbox of water dispute if held unaddressed. Effective communication and negotiation whilst avoiding any potential political opportunism can quench trust and prevent future conflicts. Then the next, coming to the MCQ, the free movement regime agreement was recently in news associated with it is between the free movement regime is between India and Myanmar. Okay, and right now government of India is trying to fence the Indo-Myanmar border. Regarding the history of ancient India, which of the following statement is correct? The Mitakhara law governs the succession of property of Hindu undivided family. That is right. Then Mitakhara law holds that a son has the right to family property through birth. So that is through once he is birth, he holds the right over the family property. Both 1 and 2 are correct. With reference to the Gambusia fish, consider the following statement. It is recognized as a non-invasive species by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Non-invasive. These have been introduced in water body for mosquito control, right? Gambusia fish display aggressive behavior of fin nipping. So no, only 1 and 2 are correct. Only 2 are correct. With reference to the Himalayan wolf, it is only, which are correct, it is only carnivorous in its ecosystem. So okay, they are categorized vulnerable in the IUCN data list. Okay, so 1 is incorrect. So 2 is correct. Himalayan wolves are smaller and more compact than their subspecies characterized by the shorter leg and snout. So 2 and 3 are correct. Okay. So consider the following statement regarding the hydrographic survey. A hydrographic survey is a scientific process that involves mapping of physical feature of underwater terrain. However, it cannot study the depth and topography of the seabed and the water bodies. Okay. India has a bilateral agreement with Maldives that allow collaboration in the hydrographic survey of the Maldivian territorial water. Okay. So here, so only 2 are correct, 3 is not correct. Identify the personality on the basis of the given. He was involved in the Delhi conspiracy case. He founded the Indian Independence League. He played a key role in the Gaddar movement. So he related to the Rasa Vihari Bose. Okay. Consider the following statement. The Climate Vulnerable Forum is a global partnership for countries most at risk from climate impact. Alliance of small island states represent countries that are disproportionately vulnerable to climate effects, particularly sea level rise and coastal erosion. Right? Umbrella group includes Africa's UN members that push for additional climate financing. So here only 2 are correct, 3 is incorrect. So consider the following regarding the Aravalli range. Banas and the Luni river originate from the Aravalli range. That is right. It is stretched from Delhi to Gujarat. Right. It is rich in metallic minerals. Right. So many minerals are available. So in the Aravalli range, if you take the if you are able to means liberate that link the what we have covered. So Aravalli range is full with minerals. Okay. So and okay, like minerals like copper, zinc, lead, and marble. So especially mineral copper, zinc, and okay, lead are plentifully available in the Aravalli range. So all the three are correct. Adi Shankaracharya is associated with the establishment of four matha monastic center in different parts of India. Which one of the following is the collective name of the mathas? Okay, they are called as the collective name of the four mathas are called as the Dasnami. Okay, so Project Bhishma is associated with which of the following sector? It is the health sector. Fine. So thank you for watching. Keep watching regularly to update yourself on a daily basis. Thank you.